Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita as it is. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Bhagavad Gita Introduction, page number 14. Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses. We have to accept perfect knowledge, which comes down as is stated in Bhagavad Gita by the parampara or the disciplic succession. We have to receive knowledge from the proper source in disciplic succession, beginning with the Supreme Spiritual Master, the Lord Himself, and handed down to a succession of spiritual masters. Arjuna, the student who took lessons from the Lord Sri Krishna, accepts everything that he says without contradicting him. One is not allowed to accept one portion of Bhagavad Gita and not the other. No, we must accept Bhagavad Gita without interpretation, without deletion, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter. The Gita should be taken as the most perfect presentation of Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is received from transcendental sources, and the first words were spoken by the Lord Himself. The words spoken by the Lord are called apurusheya, meaning that they are different from words spoken by a person of the mundane world who is infected with 4 defects. Number 1 is sure to commit mistakes. Number 2 is invariably illusioned. Number 3 has a tendency to cheat others. Number 4 is limited by imperfect senses. With these 4 imperfections, one cannot deliver perfect information of all-pervading knowledge. Vedic knowledge is not imparted by such defective living beings. It was imparted unto the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in his turn disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples as he originally received it from the Lord. The Lord is Purnam, all perfect, and there is no possibility of his becoming subjected to the laws of material nature. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that the Lord is the only proprietor of everything in this universe, and that He is the original creator, the creator of Brahma. In the 11th chapter, the Lord is addressed as Prapitamaha, because Brahma is addressed as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and He is the creator of the grandfather. So, no one should claim to be the proprietor of anything. One should accept only things set aside for him by the Lord as his quota for his maintenance. So that was the page number 14. And the main points here is that God is complete. He's complete in all respects. He is Purna. We have a form. We have this body, hands and legs and face and voice and all that. So we have this form. When Lord is complete, why do we deny Lord the form? You see, this is the biggest debate. There are some people who don't believe in the existence of Lord, they're atheist, and some believe in the existence of some kind of energy. Like, for example, in Buddhism, they don't believe in a personalized God, but they believe in some kind of energy. But what people fail to understand is that we have a form. Why can't the Lord who created, if you believe in some form of energy that is responsible for creation of this world, that energy that can create the world, why can't that energy create a form for himself? You see, that's a fundamental logic. Srila Prabhupada used to call such people Mayavadis or impersonalist. They claim to believe in the energy, some sort of a impersonal energy that is the responsible for creation, but they don't give a form to that energy. That's just impersonal energy. It's as if assuming that that energy which can make everything, it can make planets, it can make sun and moon, it can make our body, which is so complicated. That energy can make everything, but that energy cannot make a body for himself. That's ridiculous. So God has a form, and that form is complete. And the other point to be understood is that Vedic wisdom, Vedas, came from the Lord. Nobody wrote the Vedas, it just emanated from the Lord. And Vedic wisdom is infallible. It cannot be incorrect. We believe Vedic knowledge as it is. In fact, in our country, there is a phrase, like when somebody says something, you say, oh, is it Vedic knowledge? Meaning that Vedic knowledge is infallible. There's no error in Vedic knowledge because it has not come from a mundane person like you and me. We belong to the material world. God does not belong here. He created the material world. He's beyond the material world. So Vedic wisdom is infallible. An example to this is that in Vedas, it is said that the stool of an animal is impure. So if you happen to touch the stool of an animal, you have to take bath to get purified. However, the stool of cow, mother cow, cow dung is pure. In fact, cow dung is used to purify places. You smear cow dung and that place becomes purified. So it is written in Vedas that cow dung purifies everything. It is also written in Vedas that the stool of an animal is impure. Because these two are written in Vedas, we take it as it is. We just follow it. We don't question it. And the Vedic knowledge is called apurusheya, meaning not one person did not make it. It came from the Lord. It came from beyond this material world. So it is accepted as it is. Same with Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is, you have to either accept the whole of Gita without even a tiny bit of addition, deletion, and no interspersing with your own thoughts or your whims. You accept Bhagavad Gita as it is. That's why it's titled Bhagavad Gita as it is. There are, as I said before, many different editions of Bhagavad Gita, and most of the time the person who is writing it or who is translating it is putting his thoughts into it, interspersing Bhagavad Gita with his own thoughts. That is not acceptable. Either you accept every word of what Lord says as it is, or you reject it. You cannot prune it to your whims. So you accept the full Gita as it is, and it is apurusheya. It did not emanate from a person of the material world. So it is perfect. When the people of the material world, in this world that we see, when people of the material world say something, there are 4 defects to it. Number 1, the person is delusioned. Everybody in the material world is under illusion. They think that their mind, man, buddhi, ahankar, their body's mind and ego is themselves. So they're under illusion. And a person under illusion, a person who himself is illusioned, cannot give perfect knowledge. So you have to be out of illusion to give perfect knowledge, and Lord is out of illusion, so he can give us the perfect knowledge. And that was the first mistake. A person of the material world is delusioned. Number 2, he commits mistakes. We all commit mistakes. Even the great scientists have committed mistakes. At one point, science believed that the earth was flat That was the science at that time, and then it was debunked and it was refuted, and now we know that the earth is round. So we human beings do make mistakes. We have to acknowledge that. So that's a number 2 defect. Number 3 defect is that our senses are imperfect. You see, the hawk, the eagle, their eyesight is so sharp, so much better than ours, that the hawk which is flying in the sky can spot a rat on the ground and he comes and scoops it. So the hawk has a very sharp eyesight, much, much better than ours. The dog has much perfect hearing than us. The dog can hear much more range of sound than our human ears can hear. So when we talk our senses, they're imperfect. They're far from being perfect, and we cannot rely on our senses to know the reality. Many times people say, oh, if I can see it with my eyes, I will believe it. Or if I can hear it with my own ears, I will believe it. You see, your senses are imperfect. There's so many things you can't see or hear. Can you see the virus? Can you see coronavirus that's now pandemic? Can you see it with your eyes? No. Your senses are imperfect, so don't rely on your senses. That's a number 3 defect. The number 4 defect that we have is that we cheat others. You see, everybody cheats others. That's a fact. We are not knowledgeable, but we pretend to be knowledgeable. So we have a tendency to cheat. So these are the 4 defects that everybody in the material world has. Therefore, we are not qualified to give knowledge. Therefore, we have to accept the knowledge of the Vedas, what is given to us by the Lord. The Lord is not subjected to the laws of the material nature. You see, that is an important point we have to understand. The material nature, the what we see, our material prakriti, the world of stones and sticks, the material world, is made up of 3 modes: the sattva, the raja, and the tamas. And we are all ruled by that. At one time we have more of sattva gun, at the other time we have more of rajogun. Every living entity is ruled by the material modes, and therefore we are conditioned. But the Lord is above the material modes. He is not. He is the creator of the material world, so he is not affected by it. As an example, you see, when you are on the road, you're driving your car, you have the traffic light, red, yellow, green, and you follow the traffic rules, right? Because you're on the road. But aeroplane on the sky, that doesn't follow the road rules. The aeroplane doesn't stop when there is a red light. You see, the traffic rules is for us on the road, not for the aeroplane. Similarly, these material world and the rules of material world, the rules of gravity and all that scientific rules, they are for us. We are controlled by that. But the Lord is much above that. He's a person who creates a rule. He is not affected by that material modes. So the Lord is capable of giving the perfect knowledge, and that is a perfect knowledge of Gita, and we have to accept it. Now we move on to the verse number, we finished 28, we will move on to verse number 29. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna, looking at the armies, is overwhelmed with emotion, and this is what he says. Verse number 29. Vepathuscha sharire me roma harshascha jayate gandivam shramsate hastat tvakchaiva paridahyate. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. My bow gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho. There are 2 kinds of trembling of the body and 2 kinds of standing of the hair on the end. Such phenomena occur either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. There is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. This is evident from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous bow Gandiva was slipping from his hands. And because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to material conception of life. So in this verse, Arjuna is just saying that his body is trembling, his hair is standing on the end, his bow Gandiva is slipping, his skin is burning. He's under tremendous bodily discomfort and duress, and all that is because of, Prabhupada says there are two reasons. One is either you are in great spiritual ecstasy or you are under great fear. In this case, Arjuna's symptoms are not because of his spiritual ecstasy, but because of his material concept or material fear. Fear not for himself, but for others. He feels that, oh, I'm going to be the reason for the death of these people. He's identifying with his body and with their body, and he feels that I'm going to kill them. So he's as I said before, he's a pure devotee and his heart is very soft, and he is having a sudden gush of compassion for these people that would die from his hands. So he is feeling these things, these physical manifestation of these symptoms, because of his pure heart, not because of the fear for his own life. He is a great warrior. He has fought thousands of wars and he has become victorious in those wars. So he's not afraid of these wars, but he's identifying with his body, and hence he is feeling these symptoms because of his soft heart. Verse number 30. न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं ब्रह्मतीव च मे मना निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशवा. I'm now unable to stand here any longer. I'm forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, O killer of Keshi demon. You see, Krishna is addressed as Keshava. Purport. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield and he was forgetting himself on account of his weakness of mind. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium takes place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimittani viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self by interest by Krishna's will. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be a cause of lamentation for him. That ends the verse number 30. Arjuna is under great physical discomfort and mental agony at the thought of killing his people. And the root cause of that is that he's identifying himself with his material body. And that is the problem all of us are facing. In the material world, we think this body is me, this man, buddhi, ahankar, the body, mind, ego combination is myself, whereas this is the false. We are pure spirit soul and this is a false. So he identifies the enemy, or the other party, Dronacharya, Bhishma Deva, he's identifying with their body. He's not seeing the soul that is in them, which is the truth. The body is false. It's temporary. It will be here today. It will be gone tomorrow. So, such symptoms that he's experiencing, that the hands are shaking and the bow is slipping down, is all because of the false identification with the body. And with that, we finish today's video. Bhagavad Gita as it is. Please give your comments and feedback below and give a thumbs up. If you like the video, please feel free to share it with your friends and family. And please subscribe to this channel so that you will get notification for new videos to come. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've understood something or benefited in some way. Hare Krishna. See you next time.